Hello and welcome to my show TikTok, where we talk about what makes successful people tick and what it took for them to pursue their passions, follow their dreams, and achieve their goals. So many people in the creative industries are excited about today's guest. He's considered by many to be a creative genius for his groundbreaking work and influence in creating edgy, stunning, in your face images, stories, and campaigns for ads, magazines, and top brands. He was a creative director for A. Saatchi and Saatchi, Preview Magazine, Marie Claire, Cosmo, Summit Media, and now his own company, Co Studio. Please welcome Vince Uy. Hi, Vince.
Hi. Hi,
So
Mirza.
happy to see you.
Happy to see you too. Long time.
You're looking lockdown fresh in pink.
You too.
How are things now? We were just chatting about work now, biglang after lockdown. Work is picking up.
Yeah, work is picking up. I think everyone's starting to adjust to the new normal. I guess you're tired of hearing that, but I guess that's really
Yes,
the reality of things.
right,
Work has also changed. I think the way we work has changed. A lot more people now online.
right,
So yeah, and so we're all figure things out.
right. Uh, so I was looking through like your archives. Can you believe it's been what, 17 years since we first
Yeah.
established contact? So throwback to 2003.
Oh, correct.
2003, I'm the editor of Cosmo. I get an
Cosmo.
email out of the blue from a
Yeah.
kid working in an ad agency, applying as an illustrator.
Yes.
And that was you.
Yes, yes. Actually, if it weren't for you replying to me, I think I would not have started in Summit, like contributing. Yeah, so thank you. Thank you for you gave me my break, actually.
I
That was
remember I gave you an assignment to illustrate for the Cosmo Man issue, the Bachelor booklet.
yes,
And
yes.
then I wasn't happy pa nga at first. And then I
Yes.
asked you for revisions. Naloka ka ba?
Yes. Actually, no. I'm used to revisions kasi I work in advertising. So parang ako, my goal at that time was just to really please you. So I was like, okay, may revision siya. Okay, change. Okay, ganun. And then up until you're happy na.
Nag-work naman, di ba? And I
Yes!
think I showed preview editor Pauline Suaco your work. And then
Ah,
pretty soon
okay.
you were asked to
Yes, to be,
apply to
to,
preview. And then you made a mock-up
yes.
of the view.
Yes.
You remember?
Yes! Actually, I think the second project I did for Summit was for Candy first.
Ah, okay.
And then afterwards, Preview messaged me for just to contribute,
Oo.
actually, not yet to apply. So just to contribute lang, and then yun, and then I met Pauline, I met the team, we had fun working, collaborating together, and yun, and then one time she asked me, "What do you think should Preview be?" Eh, ako I'm a diehard Preview fan, so
Oo.
when she asked me, I did sabi ko, give me a few days, I'll present something. So I thought it was just, just to pick my brains. And then after the presentation, when everyone left, and I remember this vividly. So I was in the meeting room with all the entire team of Preview, and I was
Oh.
starstruck. As in,
Starstruck?
yes, like I know all of them. Of course, by face lang, because I don't know them. Because I'm a preview reader. So when I went into the meeting, I was starstruck. Hindi ako makasalita. Ganong levels. And then yun. And then I presented my ideas, what I think, parang what I want to do if I were, to head preview. And yun. And then after the meeting, Pauline spoke to me and immediately offered me the job. So I was so
Wow.
shocked. Sabi niya, do you want to work with us? And sabi ko, ha, talaga ba? So yun. So it took me a few months to think about it, actually, because I love naman what I was doing back then, advertising.
Right, right.
And it was my first job. So yun. So I after a few months, nagpaalam ako sa mga bosses ko in advertising. They're all in full support naman. So after that, ayun, I went with preview and never looked back.
Right. You're exceptional kasi uh, usually before either fashion industry or advertising industry. Very rare na may crossover na magaling in both. And that was you. And you excelled in both.
I hope so.
So what were, looking back, so mga ilang years din yon? 15 years? Or how many years did you?
Actually, I was 13 years total before I left.
13 years.
13. And it's so weird because 13 is my lucky number. Would you
Is
believe?
it?
Yes.
Wow. And then during that time, you did a lot of groundbreaking things. Like, first, you reinvented all the top stars, right? What were
Yeah.
some of the most memorable, transformative shoots that you did?
Nako, ang dami, my God. So many, actually there's so many memories. I think one of the most when before I started preview kasi used to shoot a lot of models.
Yes.
And when I went into the first meeting with preview, um I immediately pitched the idea of why don't we shoot Ann Curtis?
Okay.
And everyone was like, Ann Curtis? And then I'm like, yeah, she's a rising star. She's so young at that time. I think she was in her early 20s. If
Okay.
or teen. Parang
Right.
early basta ganon. And then they Pauline liked the idea, thought it was interesting, and then you break from, the usual covers that they've done with, models. So, yun, and then it turned out it became my first cover shoot when I was actually officially
On board.
well, yes, technically, but not really working on my first issue. Kasi usually magazines most of the time shoot the cover last, di ba?
Right, right.
So they were done already with the December issue. They were just waiting for Anne's schedule. So yun. So that was
And then
interesting.
back then, what was your vision for preview? This was 2005, right?
Yes, it's kasi I love talaga fashion magazines. And
Right.
basically, my vision at the time was just to really, ang babaw, but to really do what I've always wanted to do and see in a fashion magazine.
Okay. Which
Um,
was?
which was for me kasi it was really aspirational.
Right.
And especially at the time, parang whenever I would read fashion magazines, it would take me to a different place. It would inspire me. And I want to parang I want to parang also emulate that.
Right.
To be inspiring, to take you to a different fantasy. And also to highlight the transformative power of fashion, beauty, and well-being.
Right.
Yun. So kaya I think when I started, there were a lot of people noticed that the stars were being reinvented, or
Right. What was the most challenging
Yeah.
reinvention? Among your reinventions were Nora Honor.
Yeah, Nora
Who
Honor was
else?
challenging. Kasi, syempre, she's an icon already, di ba?
Right.
So, when we shot her, parang, how else can you, parang portray her, di ba? And when we were brainstorming, we really decided to go really just a really classic, iconic, clean look.
Right.
Kasi,
Na medyo masculine, di ba?
yeah, well,
Slick back yung hair.
not, yes, exactly. So not the typical,
Oo.
pretty, voluminous hair, more on
Right.
slick back. Yun.
And then I remember all your challenging concepts always made like the publishers nervous, right? Because you're always pushing the creative envelope to be more groundbreaking, controversial, and so probably by then, back then, people were saying, bakit si Nora Honor hindi naman yan peg ng readers, di ba?
Correct.
But then you would always, try and fight for these ideas.
yeah, I think ako kasi I think ever since I started, I've always fought for inclusivity talaga. You
Right.
know, parang everyone deserves their spotlight.
Mhm.
Kumbaga, like for example, I remember at the time that was a question, no?
Yeah.
Parang, oy, why Nora? Why she's an interesting pick, no? But I was saying that the generation now deserves to know who she is.
Right.
And I think this is a good medium to showcase that, 'di ba?
Right.
Kasi most have a tendency to just showcase the same demographic, 'di ba? Usually pag ganyan, pag magazine ka, meron kang same
Right. Right.
demographic. So that's something that I've always believed in, inclusivity.
Mhm.
And and using the platform to, showcase different people from different walks of life and from different creative fields.
What were some of the memorable covers or issues that you did, which championed your quest for inclusivity? You mentioned in our chat earlier
Mhm.
the trans
Yes,
uh,
that's one of my proudest work actually, the Trans Revolution, which
trans
was
revolution in
yes,
2014, right?
yes. I think we were the first major publication to showcase and tell the beautiful stories of trans women.
Right.
Um, and I think for a fashion magazine, that's really a big step. It took a year in the making.
Wow.
So it took a year to really find the right women to feature and showcase.
Uh-huh.
And also it took a lot of convincing.
Right.
If for me kasi it's I'm always happy when we get to a point where we can say that, we've uh we've championed progression, 'di ba?
Right.
So for me,
Right.
that signaled a progression of things. I
Right.
think that in itself, as a creative, is very fulfilling, 'di ba?
Right. And also, you mentioned to me that you're also proud of the supermodel nude gatefold cover
Yes,
featuring all the top models, including Joey Mead, Wilma Dozen, Femela
yeah.
Miranda, with the very
Maria.
pregnant Wilma.
Yes, exactly. I'm
What
so happy nga she agreed to, be shot in the nude na while being pregnant. Eh.
what were some of your memories from that shoot?
Well,
I
I
mean,
remember.
gatefold yon. So madugo.
Yes. Yes, madugo siya. I remember it clearly because at the time, we were thinking of who to put for September. And September is usually a big fashion issue, di ba? So, we've always been putting celebrities. So, parang sabi ko, oh, why not we put uh, the Philippines top models
Oh, balik model
on
ulit.
balik model tayo because we actually do naman still feature models but not in the on the cover anymore. So sabi ko, why not go back to showcasing the top Filipino models. And then when they were saying, okay, so what are we gonna make them wear, sabi ko, nothing. Why don't we shoot them in the nude na lang and then just do an accessory showcase, which is
Right.
still.
LV.
Yes, so Louis Vuitton, and still also apt for a fashion issue with a different fashion showcase, which is accessories, because accessories also play a major role in I think your total look. So we wanted to, yun, sabi ko, why not let's shoot them, and then surprisingly, they all agreed.
Siyempre.
Wala, nagulat lang kami kasi syempre it was also, I think I remember in the newsstands, parang may cover pa nga siya eh.
Talaga, tinakpan
Yes,
ng
oo,
mga
nagka-cover siya kasi they're nude, 'di ba? So, parang I was shocked to
scandalous.
see their heads lang and then may cover na black or white balloon. But I guess at that time, I guess it was considered parang
Scandalous.
scandalous.
Oo.
But I'm glad that preview and the see, I think Ichi pa nga at the time backed us up in really making that into print. Kasi
Right.
if that could have easily been just an inside story, 'di ba?
Right. Was it hard for you to always uh, push nga the creative envelope? Because at the end of the day, you have to sell the magazine, right? And
Mhm.
so there's always forces at work na you want creative freedom and then on the commercial side, we have to sell the magazine.
Correct, correct.
What were some of your memories of that time?
Um, Actually, you know what? The technique of Pauline is she never brings me to the meetings of the business meetings,
Right.
so that I don't get ano parang ano bang tawag dito, shocked, or so I
Oh,
don't get parang jarred.
right,
But I came from advertising, and I always tell this to Pauline na parang I think my strength also is that in my background is really selling.
right,
But how to sell is also another thing. So I guess it during my time it was a good run because um, we were able to balance both.
right,
So it's really, I think, about the good balance of being able to push yourself, but at the same time being able to be marketable.
right.
Uh, Yun. So it was, there were a lot of challenging moments. Definitely yan. Kasi, sometimes, when you're working with a magazine, this is something that I just learned when I got into Summit, na parang there are formulas already.
Right.
There are like tried and tested. Kunyari, like, the color pink works the most,
Right.
or like this color is like doesn't sell at all.
Don't put green,
Oo,
diba?
yung mga ganong things. But I guess as a creative, you learn that sometimes it can surprise you.
Right,
But it can actually change. So parang it's always a good natural progression to still go with trial and error.
right.
Alam mo yun? Kasi sometimes, like art is very emotional, alam mo yun?
Uh-uh.
Sometimes you really can't tell if it will attract the market or not, diba?
Right. So what makes you keep pushing and trying something new kahit may formula? For example, you also became creative director of Cosmo, and there's nothing more formulaic than a
Yeah.
Cosmo cover, right? Parang may
Yes.
constraints ka. There's the hair, the pose, the dress, the
Yes, yes,
colors. I
yes,
mean, how
yes.
much more can you do? So when
Yeah.
given constraints like that, how do you push your creativity?
I guess, there are a lot of aspects naman to cover. So, of course, the visual, but also there's the layout, the typography, how
Uh,
you're gonna arrange it. And I always tell the team that it doesn't stop in the cover.
right,
'Di ba? Parang a lot of people kasi, you know, think that it's just the cover is the full representation of the entire magazine.
right,
That's
right.
why I always tell the team, 'di ba, na parang you have to be consistent all throughout, create excellent work inside the magazine from page 1 to page 100, because it's the entire experience naman that brings in the consumer.
Right.
And yun, and I guess another thing that really, I think what I love about the industry is that, we work with a lot of new creatives.
Right.
That keeps everything fresh, keeps the perspective fresh, keeps everything, I guess, the point of view. So yeah, so I've always really loved working with new photographers, new stylists, makeup artists. I think
Right.
it and I think along the way, you also parang it's also, I kind of see it as our job to really push for young creatives,
Right.
because we can't just forever be ourselves. Alam mo yun?
Right.
There has to be a new generation, a new set of people always, all the time. So, yun.
Right. And then when you talked about excellence, I experienced firsthand the way you work when we were together in Marie Claire, right? You're always pushing for excellence down to the very minute detail na I think at the time, mention na loka ako na, remember we had a Kayumanggi story?
Yes, yes. Yes, yes. Oo,
I mean,
oo, oo.
every story worked on kailangan career, right? Like from the opening page to the opening visual to every little sidebar, every little detail, you
Correct,
always
correct,
pushed
correct.
for excellence. Everything had to be storyboarded, everything had to be planned. And this is kind of contrary to popular belief na kapag creative, they just think on the fly, di ba? Parang
Yes.
bahala na later on. But you were such a planner. You're very disciplined in your process in extracting creativity. And I was quite surprised that you had a lot of methods to your madness. Can you talk about this and your creative process?
um,
And you
a-
also believe a great deal in preparation pala.
yes, oo. Kasi I always believe that I as a creative, you still have to be organized.
Right.
You have to organize your thoughts. You have to. Ako kasi a technique that I do is I list down my ideas. Because sometimes you forget. Ako kasi I'm very forgetful, so I list it down if I have an idea, or if I know I will forget it, I will message Pauline. Pauline, I'm thinking maybe we can do this. Okay, anyway, it's 4 a.m. I just thought about it. Tapos, bahala na. And then we'll talk about it the next day.
Right, right.
Um, so yeah, I put it into writing because most of the time I forget. And yun, I think preparation and getting the right people to do the right things
Right.
really help. Uh, you know, uh, we have a lot of really great photographers, makeup artists, but if you get the wrong team to do the wrong, to be in the wrong project or in the wrong requirement, it's going to be more challenging.
Right.
Um,
Can you
so
explain a little bit for those who don't know or understand what you mean by the wrong people or the right people? I know it's hard to explain, but
yes,
maybe
yes.
we can try.
No, well, not necessarily wrong, but I guess, kumbaga, for example, there are makeup artists, kunyari, that are more, ang expertise nila really is beauty.
Right.
So they can they would really excel in a shoot that's really more beauty, fresh, ganda,
Uh-uh.
even glamour. But if it becomes too experimental, some makeup artists might find it challenging, or might feel like it's not up their ante, kumbaga.
Right. Right.
Um, so you don't also want to be caught in that situation wherein you have to force someone to do something that they don't want.
Right.
That's also something that I value. Like I always tell, kaya mo ba to? Carry mo ba to? You also, you also collaborate with the makeup artist. Oh, meron kaming shoot. Ito yung idea. What do you think? Can you do it? It's more of an open collaboration than,
Right. Right.
ito yung shoot, bala ka gawin mo to.
Right.
Something like that. So, that's why I think good planning also is about really talking to the creative team,
Right.
being, getting them involved in the project,
Uh-huh.
um, and doing pre-prod. I think that's also very important talaga.
Right. And gaano ka kadugo mag pre-prod?
Actually, simple lang kami, really. Like, just update each other with what's happening. We prepare a pre-prod deck. Kasi usually, pag magazine naman, the pre-prods happen lang, like you send the deck, the concept deck, and then you send it to everyone. And then if they have questions, like ako, kasi makulit ako, so talaga may message ko yung photographer, message ko yung makeup artist, oh, ito yung look, ganyan, ganyan. So yun. So, I guess it's really just constant coordination then, and
Right.
communication.
Right. Para yung the outcome is never an accident, right? Sometimes it's a happy accident,
It is. It is. I believe in happy accidents.
but the more prepared you are, do you think?
I think happy accidents happen when you are already prepared.
Oh, okay.
Like when you already have set the plan, when you are already doing it, then you have room to experiment. Then you have room to go wild, do whatever. As
Right.
long as you cover what you need to do. Alam mo yan, parang you check your checklist already, and then okay, fine, magloko-lokan tayo, ganon.
Right.
So yun. So ako, there are a lot of covers din naman that we've had na happy accidents eh.
Like
Like some
what?
are there
What are
like
the most memorable ones?
uh what are the most memorable ones? My God, ang dami ko ng covers na sinut.
Or
Uh,
not just covers, but maski fashion ed, what are the fashion editorial, what are the most na talagang
oh, you know what? I remember when we shot Isa Calzado for Best Dressed.
okay.
We had a really beautiful option for the cover.
Right.
Like gown and
Uh-uh.
I not gown, long skirt and the
Uh-uh.
top. But when we shot one of the outfits of Isa, it was, I remember it was a fringe Vanya Romov dress. Medyo avant-garde because it's like tiered siya. So it's not the typical silhouette na kitang waist and ano. And then when we were shooting it, we all felt na parang ito yung cover, not the actual cover that we shot. And it
Right.
ended up as the cover actually of our best dressed issue for with Isa. So those are the things na parang sometimes in the shoot you'll never know. Sometimes there are looks na parang feeling mo ito yung cover or ito yung parang this is the one. And then you realize na parang, oh wow. Alam,
Do you
iba
have
pala.
Do you have a number one favorite cover? I know it's like asking you to pick a favorite child, but if you could only pick
Oh
one.
my God, Mirza, ang hirap.
Or two.
You know what? Actually, for me, I think I would have to really base it on um I have it's so hard because to be honest, like a lot of people don't believe me, but all the covers that we've done are really special to me. As in
Wow,
ganun,
as in
ganun
all.
level siya. But if I were to pick, the most memorable, I think, and my most favorite cover would be the 10th anniversary. That was my
Okay.
first. The reason why it's so special to me is because that's my first year with Preview,
Oh, okay.
and I'm already 6 months into the magazine pa lang at the
Uh-uh.
time,
Who were
and
the girls on the cover?
10 girls.
Uh-uh.
Asunta De Rossi.
Uh-huh.
Ay, no, sorry.
Alessandra.
De Rossi. Isa Calzado, Bea Alonso, Ann Curtis,
Okay. They were
Jessica
all
Garcia, Bella
rising pa lang.
Gonzalez. Yes,
Oh,
Oo. So, Mariel was there also. They were
right.
all rising stars,
Right.
actually. And at that time, I've always wanted to do a gatefold cover. And at kinukulit ko talaga si Pauline. Sabi ko, Pauline, let's do a gatefold cover, please, for the anniversary. And she's like, talaga ba? Are you sure? Because the preview, I think, hasn't done a gatefold cover in a long time.
Right.
And yun, it was the only issue in previous entire history where all the cover girls had their own editorial.
Wow.
Like imagine it's 10 cover girls and 10 fashion editorials. Fashion and
Wow.
beauty editorials.
So
So
hindi na kayo natulog that month.
exactly. Kasi imagine mo, I had to attend most of the shoots. In fact, may mga shoots na nga ako na hindi na na-attendan. And we used 10 different photographers.
Wow.
Yeah, so 10 different photographers, glam team. And yun, it was fun. Kasi that was actually my first time to work with Mark Nick Dow.
Oh, okay.
Um, and for that cover story, Jean Young shot the entire cover. We shot it in Unitel
Okay.
for I think 2 days.
Wow.
2 days.
So Mark was also a rising star.
Yes, oo.
Oo.
Actually, mga kasabayan ko, si Mark, si Paulo was also
Paulo Pineda.
Paulo Pineda, yeah. A lot. Jake Versosa. Pat D was also part of that issue. Actually, a lot. Toto Labrador was part of the issue.
Right.
Ang dami rin namin. So, parang, kumbaga sa reunion episode, punong-puno yung reunion episode kung
Discovered.
kinuha mo lahat nung tao dun sa issue na yun.
Oo.
So yeah, it was really memorable and one of my really like top favorites.
What do you miss most about magazines, and how do you feel about the death of print magazines? How did you take its death?
Um, to be honest, I was really sad when
Of course.
when print really died. But because I'm such a, I don't know, I guess I'm old, but I love the tactile feel of magazines. Like
Yes,
it's
yes,
like picking a
yes.
book. Like you.
Right.
And kaya nga parang for me, I don't know if a lot of the young ones can relate. If that there's that feeling yung fresh scent of a magazine when you take it out
Yes.
of the packet and then
Uh-uh.
you smell it. Parang iba yung smell ng printing press, yung ganon.
Oo.
And also the experience of reading it. The experience of reading and browsing and seeing your work on fine print.
Right.
Parang that itself, parang at the time, like for a young creative like me, even before I was in preview, it's sort of like a validation of your work to
Right.
see it printed. It's like, kumbaga sa kung artist ka, may gallery exhibit ka, ganon. Parang, so
Right.
you've made it, your work is printed. So yeah, I think that's what I miss about print.
Right.
But to be honest, if you're a creative kasi, whatever whatever medium you work in, there's always really a chance to be creative on. And that's on the flip side of things. I think that's what's really exciting about the digital age.
Right. And how did you transition to digital? Kasi medyo concurrent yun, di ba? Parang while
Yes.
may magazines pa, may print pa, then social media exploded, right? And then
Yes.
everybody had to adapt. Were you an early adapter? And how did you transition? It's a whole different ball game
Yes.
now, right? How did
Well,
you transition?
actually, I want to give credit to Pauline, because Pauline really was the one who really saw that the brand had to transition, had to come up with an online platform, which
Right,
was back then Style Bible.
right,
So yeah, it was pretty. In fact, we were, I think, the first ones to have an online platform, a
right,
preview.
right.
So I mean, like, Pauline is really like, my God, she's like my mentor, and like every aspect of the
Hi,
word.
hi, Pauline.
Hi, Pauline. So yeah, she's always, forward thinking, and I
Right,
think in order to thrive, you always have to be forward thinking. Not just thinking of the now, but thinking of the what will be.
right.
So yun. Ako kasi I'm a very, I don't know. Alam mo, when I was in college, I'm the last to have a phone.
Oh, okay.
Kasi
So,
I'm very traditional like that.
traditional
Uh
artist ka.
yeah, so even within me and my siblings, ako din yung last to have social media accounts. In fact,
Okay.
hindi ako magkakaroon ng Instagram if it wasn't gifted to me.
What do you mean
It
gifted?
was gifted. Like during Christmas, it was Nicole Anderson who gave me a card, Merry Christmas card. Pagbukas ko, Merry Christmas, my gift for you is your own Instagram account. So ni-register niya ako. Bigay niya yung password ko. Please post one entry now. Parang gano'n. So tawang-tawa ako.
Anong
And
year
then,
yon? Anong year yon?
oh my God, tagal na, tagal na. I think it was maybe like 2009,
Okay.
9 or 2010
Or
maybe.
whenever Instagram was born.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Parang gano'n. Basta, ang tagal na rin naman. But at the time, everyone had a platform already. Everyone had an account. And
Right.
I'm like, so parang they're saying na, sige na. Sabi ko, ayoko. I mean, I don't think I'm fit for that. Tapos yun na nga. So I had no choice but to really, put up my own account. Tapos
Right.
yun. And then, it's been fun naman. It's been really
And
fun.
now, when I look at your Instagram account, it's really, my gosh, a showcase of possibilities. Parang like that thing behind you is part of a short video called Quarantines.
Yes, yes.
Diba?
So,
And
yeah.
then so many cool and amazing creative things on your Instagram. And now it's really essential for business, essential for all our careers. How have you managed to keep up, keep being creative in this new media? Well, it's no
Um,
longer new actually.
Well, actually, the thing is, you just have to know yourself. You know what you're good at. You know what you love to do, and just do it. I mean, at the end of the day, it's really your platform. So, you have a say. I think that's also the difference with working for a magazine. Because before, when you're working for a magazine, in as much as of course there's creative freedom, there are also certain parameters. You know this, di ba?
Right, of
There
course.
are a lot of things to be considered, marketing, you know, I guess sales, circulation, stuff like that. So I think with having your own platform, it's really you who make the call, and
Right,
it's also you who decide what you want to share and what
right.
you don't want to share. So yun, and I think with me it's just like I just like to try a lot of parang fun things, creative things, when I'm in the mood. Pag may extra time.
Right. And how do you feed your creativity so that you're always, di ba, coming up with fresh ideas? I mean, hindi ka ba nauubusan minsan? Especially
uh
kung you have to produce, di ba, on cue.
um I guess there are times where I feel like I just don't want to think. Alam mo yun? I
Right.
think in every creative's life that happens, but for the most part, I love pop culture kasi. So I'm
Okay.
really in tune with pop culture, and I feel like that really plays a major role in our lives and a major inspiration pool, ika nga, for a lot of people. So
So
you know,
specifically, what are you into sa pop culture? Like, what are your favorite things
everything
to
like music.
watch?
Yeah, music, movies. I don't really have a specific genre because I think ako kasi I'm really very diplomatic when it comes to my choices in terms of pop culture. So today I can listen to classical music, tomorrow Lady Gaga, and then the next day jazz music. So parang for me, it's like I try to immerse myself in things that I am interested in.
Right,
Um, Tsaka plus it's all out there. All you just
right,
need to do is find the right I guess niche for you, or
right.
find the right websites for you, the right outlet for you, whether it's Spotify, it's Pinterest, it's Instagram, TikTok.
Right. And how do you ward off um, complacency? Like, di ba, it's easy for us to say, like when you said, I don't think Instagram is for me. It's so easy for people to say that now. Like, I don't think TikTok is for me, di ba? But for you
Mhm.
have to always open your mind, keep fresh. How do
Yes.
you try to do that?
For me, because I always believe that uh, in order for you to know what's happening, you need to immerse yourself, but you don't necessarily need to involve yourself.
Okay.
So meaning you can be a spectator to know what's happening, but you don't necessarily need to involve yourself. If you feel you don't really want to involve yourself, for example, like you don't necessarily have to do TikTok to know TikTok,
Right.
parang you can just be a lurker and know the trends, know what people are doing, attempt to do one and not publish it, So, kumbaga, I think that's also the beauty of the digital age is you have really the power to just really know what you want to do and focus on that. But ako kasi for me, I as much as possible try to really immerse myself and read about things that are happening. I think it's very important to really be up to date
Right.
with what's happening around us.
Right. So what's a typical, I don't know if there's a typical day in your life for
Mm.
creative wise.
Creative wise, you know what? Okay, I'm just gonna tell you my typical day. Like ako kasi right now, because it's the new normal. I wake up and then I really dress up to
Wow.
to go to work.
Okay.
I feel
I-
like that really makes me more productive.
Right.
And then of course, I really have my social media time to
Okay.
browse and see what's happening. Um, I think for me, I really allot time for that.
Okay. It's good because you give it kind of like uh
Kumbaga,
what's the word?
it's not a by the way thing for me. It's really
Right. It's not like wasting time, but it's
correct, correct.
actually research.
Yes, it's research and not just research. I also want to see what my friends are doing, what everyone's doing. Kasi ngayon, it's work-life integration na nga, di ba? It's not even
Correct.
work-life balance. It's
Right.
work-life integration because technically, like a lot of people that I know also work on digital platforms. So to
Right.
them, when once you turn on your phone, it's like it's part of your work, it's part of your life. And then I just I have a lot of books here at home, so I also make sure that I at least read. Actually, not read, browse,
Right.
because I'm a visual person like that. So I
Right.
most of my coffee table books are really like meant for like browsing. Yun, and then I also watch a lot of current films and things that
Right.
are happening on online.
Right.
Uh, Yun,
Are you into the whole Korean
I have,
teleseries?
you know what? I have yet to. I have yet to. That's how many things I have on my list na hindi pa ako nakarating sa Korean. So, but RuPaul's Drag Race, yes, definitely.
So I'm very curious about your childhood and all the factors that turned you into the creative person that you are today.
Mhm.
Uh, you're the child of a banker, right?
Yes, two bankers.
Two bankers. And how do two
Yes.
bankers produce very creative children?
I don't know, actually.
Or what's your earliest recollection of being creative? Like, were you
A-
always artistic? Were you always
Ako kasi,
drawing?
yes, when I was young, my recollection was my parents would always buy me things to draw, to use
Right,
while
right.
drawing, Crayola, ganon. And me and my sister would always, you know, play with things that are more on the artistic side, meaning like coloring books
Right,
or
right.
like drawings and cutting, cutting things, cutting cutouts, or ako, my favorite subject really was art when I was young.
Okay.
So me and my mom would always work on my projects. I would really go the extra mile. Magpapasikat talaga ako when I work on art projects. And yeah, I guess it was pretty. Our parents saw that we had an inclination towards the arts.
Uh-huh. Was it encouraged? There was no pressure to
No,
become bankers or being from
not
a Chinese family, be good in math.
um you know what? No, actually, there was really no pressure. I guess I was really super behaved when I was young. So I made sure that I had time to do art, but at the same time, I had time to really study and do the tick the boxes of like math,
Right.
science, But I'm really like most of my friends is from way back know me really as yun, like the president of the art club, ganun levels.
Okay.
So
And
I'm really
then
more into the arts.
when did you know that you were gonna become an artist, or did you plan to be in advertising at a young age?
Actually, it was weird because at when I was in college, I was torn. I wanted to do medicine.
Wow.
Yeah, I wanted to do medicine kasi when I was young, ang dream ko talaga maging doctor. As in maging
Okay.
doctor.
Okay.
Um so that was really my so I was torn if I want to do pre-med or do advertising kasi I also want to do advertising because at the time, in fact, when I applied, it was a fresh course in LaSalle, advertising
Okay.
management.
Okay.
It was, I think we were the second batch ba or the first batch. Yun. So, what I did actually was I applied to different schools in different courses.
Okay.
And then kung saan nila ako matanggap. Ganon.
And then,
And then, ayun, and then I got accepted in LaSalle.
so you
Um,
mean kung natanggap ka sa med, magiging doktor ka sana?
Actually, hindi ako natanggap sa UST. Yeah, pero kung
Okay.
natanggap ako sa UST, hindi ako natanggap sa Lasal, I would have done medicine and I would have maybe dropped out in the middle and pursued arts. Feeling ko gano'n ang mangyayari. But yeah, sobrang weird. As in, sobrang weird nung choices ko ng college. Ewan ko ba. Pero yeah, but yeah, I guess it took me naman where I want to be.
Okay. And then when you look back, could you already see that all your artistic inclination would one day be kind of your work? Like you talked about in an interview a long time ago, you talked about when you were 11, you made a scrapbook about your
Mm-hmm.
house. Can you talk
Yeah.
about that?
Oh my God. I forgot about this story. Yes, actually, I made an actual house.
Oh, an
Um,
actual house
well, that was with my lola.
out of
But
paper.
yes, so out of paper. Um, Actually, what's funny was when I was younger, I really didn't think of myself as an artist.
Okay. Wow.
Um, because my parents are both bankers.
Right.
So I thought about it as a thing that I just enjoy doing on the side.
Okay.
I really pursued it. But I know for a fact that parang in my mind na I will end up really being a businessman, a banker.
Okay.
So I when when I was in college, it really opened my eyes that I can actually, be an artist and actually earn. Kasi I
Right.
think that's the common misconception kasi about
Uh-uh.
artists. Eh. It's that
Right. But
parang you
creatives cannot make money.
yeah, exactly.
Oo.
And and for me, I think that especially now
Right.
that it has even the playing field for everyone, which is really
Right.
really amazing.
Right.
But when I was starting out, yes, because creatives were at that time, kumbaga parang when you're in advertising, yon, that's when really creatives get paid
Yeah.
what they're worth. But I don't know about other industries.
Right.
So yun, so I guess that was really a challenge also as someone who's starting out, who's just starting his life, starting to earn
Uh-oh.
for himself.
Right.
But I think the moment that I realized
Realize.
was when I siguro maybe like before transitioning into preview. That's when I realized that, I think there's really room for creatives to earn also, and while
Right.
doing
Right.
what they love.
Right.
um Yun, in fact actually before, I think I shared this with you, that I actually wrote pa nga to preview before as a
You
fan.
did? Oh,
Yeah,
you did?
I said
Oh.
I told Pauline this later on, na lang ni-reveal ko. Nahiya ako eh. But I actually wrote to preview as a fan.
Anong
As in
sabi
like
mo?
as in like email days pa nga to. And then wala lang. I just wrote and told them how much I love the magazine. But sabi ko, if you
But
hindi, sabi ko parang I had like a long list of like suggestions.
right, to
I don't
improve
know if I don't know. They published my
your
letter.
letter.
Yeah, they
Okay.
published my letter. But
So
I
you
don't
won
think
letter of the month.
uh I think no, no, no. In fact, I didn't. Basta they
Okay.
published it, but I didn't win
All
letter of the
right.
month.
Right.
But I don't think they had an idea it's the same person when they were
Oh.
working with me. So I had like after a few years, I told them, Pauline, I think I told them one drunken night. I told her, Pauline, I wrote when I was in college to preview. Tapos tawa sila ng tawa.
Do you still have the copy?
Yes, yes, I have it. I have it.
Wow. Do you actually have all the copies of preview?
You know what? At a certain year, I parang our house became so crowded na
Right.
parang I stopped. But siguro mga my first 5 years, 5 years, 6 years, complete ako. And then the rest parang kulang-kulang. Sad nga eh. Actually, I should have collected talaga.
Kasi ano na yan ngayon? Artifacts.
I know. Precious commodity.
Right. Also, in an interview with the Philippine Star in 2005, this
Oh
is
my God.
15 years ago, you said your
Tagal
dream
na.
your dream project was to have a one-man show with an editorial with you as the photographer, stylist, art director, set designer, location hunter, and you wanted to add model, pero sobra na raw.
Correct, correct.
Fast
Correct.
forward to 15 years, we are all doing that.
Exactly.
Could
Actually,
you ever have imagined?
you know what? You know what? I think at that time, my God, 2005 ba yun? Oh my God.
15 years ago, yes.
Yeah, I guess that was in a way parang a foreshadowing of things to come.
Yes, parang prophetic,
Uh,
di ba? Na
I know
one
it's so
day.
weird. O nga, no? That one day you will be, oh nga, no? So now I did it. Kasi I'm my own, I'm the talent, the photographer, the location
Right.
hunter, production designer, stylist. Oh nga, no? Yeah,
And
it's
we were just chatting about models slash photographers who were doing their own shoots on
exactly.
themselves, right?
On
And even
themselves.
for any business owner now, creativity in social media is an essential skills, right? If you
Yes.
have a food business, you have to know how to shoot the products, make
Yes.
videos. Now everybody has to talk on cam,
Yes.
sell their stuff.
Actually nga, it's I'm grabe. I'm so happy that right now a lot of people have an appreciation for, creative work. Before, I think, excuse me, when I started with preview, parang a lot of people, sorry, still don't get the idea of grading, toning,
Right,
like
right,
the
right,
coloring of photographs. But now it's part of our lives. Filters are part of our lives.
right.
before they were even called filters, that it was called grading, the color
Uh-uh.
grading. So imagine the impact of the new age where it's all accessible. Like you have Pinterest where it's easy to search for inspirations in a snap.
Right.
Before you have to have a specific reference in your mind.
Right.
Kasi you only relied in your mind, 'di ba?
Right.
Maybe a few books, but kumbaga it's more of like, again, the something that you've read, you've seen in your memory, and then you're inspired by that, 'di ba? But now
Right.
kasi it's so easy to bookmark it, 'di ba? Or to like put it in your archive.
Or
So
it's so mainstream that even children can, increase the
yeah,
saturation of their selfies,
yes,
edit
yes.
videos.
Yeah, which is a good thing because it's being very diplomatic. It's being making uh being kumbaga making or being creative is accessible not to everyone. Kumbaga, 'di ba?
Right. Not just accessible, but essential.
Essential. Yes, yeah.
I just saw on the Facebook page of Merly Jaime, whom you introduced to me during the Marie Claire
Yeah.
days.
Yeah.
She self-filmed at home a talk for Cannes Lions,
Oh,
a
okay.
talk entitled "Would You Really Let a Creative Run Your Business?" Because
Mhm.
now that we're in the virtual world, that's the name of the game, diba? It's not even
Yes.
how masarap is your food, but how nice are your pictures?
Yes.
How good is your social media campaign?
Yeah, and I think because nga of social media then parang um the whole I guess the whole industry changed, 'di ba?
Right. And so now tell us about Co Studio. When did you put it up? Why? And what are you up to?
Well, actually, because I've been doing, not a lot of people know, but when I started with Summit, I was on a retainer. So I'm really not a full-time employee,
Right.
which means that I get to do a lot of advertising work also on the side. In fact, my very first project, and I'm really still so thankful up to this day, is for Bench.
Right.
They got me to launch Georgina as the new Kashika girl, which was way back in 2008, I think, or 7.
Right.
Um, so I've been doing a lot of advertising silently on the side. And then when I decided about siguro almost 2 years ago that I wanted to really pursue it full time,
Right.
and I also want to parang kumbaga if you would I guess say it, parang come full circle and go back into advertising, which I really was really my first love. Um, so yun, so I put up Co Studio, and we've been doing a lot of fashion, beauty, and lifestyle campaigns that I'm super proud of. So yeah, and I guess we actually just celebrated our first anniversary just last January.
Wow.
So
Congratulations.
thanks. So yun, so now we're all adjusting to the new normal. So we're all adapting to, I think this new phase in our lives. So
Right.
yeah, it's at the past few months, really, to be honest, have been challenging only because a lot of people are still figuring out how to
Right.
maneuver in this situation. But I think now a lot of people are slowly parang realizing that there is hope. Kumbaga, there's still life. Life goes on, and
Right.
are cautiously addressing the new normal.
And how is it different now to be in advertising in this day and age? And now you own your own company. So what has changed?
Oh my God, I have to be disciplined. I have to wake up early. No, but seriously, I think what's different now is that it's very fast paced.
Right.
Um, because syempre with digital, it's kumbaga you can produce something in a day, and then air it the next day.
Right.
If there are no revisions and all that, no. And also there are a lot of different mediums. Before it was just traditional. kumbaga ang category is trad, non-trad, 'di ba?
Uh-uh.
So but now it's there's so many platforms, and each platform also has a different type of audience and a different set of people who excel in it. So it's interesting. Ako, for me, it's always ever changing. So it's always interesting to see what will happen. And I think right now, what and a lot of I think a lot of people can relate to this is that we're still at the phase where there's so much uncertainty,
Right.
even with advertising work. Like directions can change in a snap because of what might happen, of changes. Because nga, I guess sadly, because we're still really in a standstill because of what's been happening. So yun. So I guess really the key is to be very flexible and to be very versatile in terms of what you can offer.
Right.
And yun, and very, I guess, very um ano ba?
O-
Very
open.
open. Yeah. Yeah.
Right. And how are you practicing this? Like, how are you working on your versatility, or how is Co Studio versatile and open?
Actually, we just well, the number one thing that I really try to tell to my team is to practice being able to work fast.
Oh,
I
okay.
think that's an aspect that a lot of people can value from, to be able.
Right.
Because sometimes, when you talk about creativity, a lot of people might argue that, it takes time, you need a certain time. But I think in this day and age, if you work fast and you can still be creative, then it gives you a better edge to a lot of people. Creative and strategic.
So
Um,
sometimes would you say speed can overtake perfection? Like before, di
uh,
ba, parang, nako, creative yan, kailangan ng time, kailangan
uh,
perfect. Wala ng
I
time, di ba?
but parang for me, I think also I think perfection has been overplayed already. Eh. Parang a
Okay,
lot of people want to see realness.
right,
I think parang it's a different time that we're in right now, wherein you
right,
don't need to be perfect. You don't need to be flawless. Kumbaga,
right, right.
kumbaga, so there's merit into being genuine, being real.
Right.
But to answer your question, yung speed trumps perfection. Tama ba? Tama
Or
ba?
quality. Like sometimes
Quality.
we'll say, kahit na hindi rin pa
Pwede na yan. Ganon.
pwede na. I mean, di ba, parang you're always weighing, like we're always fighting against avoid pwede na, strive for excellence. On the other hand, if you're too slow, speed is of the essence now, the way things work,
Yes,
right? Kung
yes,
sinong mauna siya yung
yes,
panalo.
yes. You have to create, I think, a standard for yourself on
Okay,
what is your standard of things, and
right,
then you base your speed on that. Because you have to have a standard. You cannot really let go of your standard, but then still, even if it requires you to be fast, to be in lightning speed, I
uh-uh,
think you have to be guided by your standards as a creative. I think that's what's very important still.
right.
Still.
So may minimum standard on
Yes.
which you will put your name on.
Yes. Not actually like a minimum, but really a standard. Like there's no minimum. There's really this standard. You have to set a standard for yourself. And I think that's also put value into yourself as a creative.
Right,
'Di ba? What you are willing to who you are willing to work with, what you are willing to work on, and what kind of output you're willing to, publish out there.
right. Do you have tips for everyone? Oh, first of all, do you think creativity is innate or can it be learned?
Um for me, I think it's something that can be cultivated. Um,
Okay.
Everyone, for me, I feel, has creativity in them. Um, it's just a matter of how you would nurture it as you
Right,
go along the way and where you want to take it. Because when you talk about creativity, it's not just about the physical arts. It can be culinary. It can be even in accounting, di ba? Parang kumbaga parang sa akin, it's innate,
Right.
to everyone. But for me, you cannot just assume that it's innate and do nothing about it. You have to constantly cultivate it.
And how does one cultivate it? And do you have some tips on really like tickling our mind so that we
Uh-huh.
are creative in everything that we do, even
Ako
if we're
kasi,
not artistic?
um, ako for me, it's really, um, be exposed to a lot of things. Allow yourself to be exposed to a lot of things, to culture, to travel, to reading. I think living life is a very important aspect of it, because you'll also know what you want to do.
Right,
If you're not scared to do so many things, to
right,
experience so many things. As I say nga, 'di ba, parang sometimes as a creative, some of your works are also trial and error eh. It's
right.
not like you have a formula already, set formula, 'di ba? So I think that's also the beauty of it. And I keep it a practice to do new things once in a while. New things that I haven't really done. Because for me, it surprises me what I can do pala, or what I'm capable of doing, or what I can explore or expound on, or grow from. Parang
So, what's
ganun.
the last new thing that you tried?
Well, I'm actually working on a secret project, but I won't.
Oh,
It's new. It's something that I've always loved doing, but never thought that I could pursue as a personal project. So I will reveal that later on. I'll
oh,
let you
okay,
know.
exciting.
But yun, I guess it's also a good time now to to explore your other facets of yourself, diba? And
Right.
see what you can develop or what you can explore.
What's a tip that you have for everyone to always help them think out of the box and not rely on the same
Mhm.
old usual formula in everything that they do? Like I
Well,
remember before you always had exercises for whatever team you were handling about.
yes, yes. Well, aside from the usual, the exercises, but I think the main thing is to not be afraid of failure.
Okay.
I think that's really something that everyone needs to keep in mind, that it's okay to fail. I mean, I think failure leads to something else. And because if you set yourself already that you don't want to fail, you don't want to, uh, like you're concerned about so many things that are connected to that, then you're not really able to think outside the box, or not able to do what you want to do, or to explore. As I
Right.
say, trial and error. It's always trial and error, and if it's an error, then you try again, do something
Right.
again. So I think that's one thing that I've learned, um during my time also with preview.
So
And
what's the
it's okay to
best
fail, and it's okay to fail.
what's the best failure or mistake you ever did or you ever committed?
Hmm, ang dami din. Um, I can't think of a specific instance, but what
or
nga?
or the biggest learning that you've been
Learning.
from.
I guess the biggest learning actually for me was that, to not be afraid to fail.
Okay.
Sometimes, kasi people parang want it. Parang I always had the notion where, especially when I started, na parang everything has to be perfect, has to be pristine, has to be ganyan. But, you know, sometimes it's okay to just, you know, um, um, I guess it's okay to not be at your best. Alam mo yun?
Sometimes, right.
Sometimes, and sometimes when people parang expect too much from you, 'di ba? Parang like as a leader,
Right.
parang it's okay also to be human and to feel not your very best. Parang ganon.
Right.
We all have our days, kumbaga.
As long as you have standards.
Yes, yes. As long as you have standards. Correct, correct. Never
So,
let go of your standards.
what's your advice for people who might be in the same boat as you were many decades
Mm-mm.
ago? Like newbie, fanboy, fangirl to the whole creative
Uh-huh.
rates. What's your advice?
Um, it's just to keep doing what you really are love doing. And yun nga, and don't be afraid of failure. Kasi if I had time to tell myself that, I would have told myself that too. Not to concentrate too much on perfection. Um, Yun. And to keep on doing what you love. And I think yun, to be able to think outside the box is you shouldn't be really afraid of failure. And that it's okay to fail. It's okay to be criticized. It happens.
And how have you dealt with criticism? Like, I'm sure not all pitches are approved.
Mhm.
Sometimes, di ba, masakit.
Correct. But you know what? I learn the best from criticism. Um, Ako kasi I'm the type where I really take constructive criticism. And even if it's not actually, alam mo, it makes you
Even if it's
think,
not constructive.
even if it's not, alam mo yan, I take it. Sige, tatanggapin ko siya. But there was a time where I had a hard time with that. When I
Right.
was younger. Syempre, as a creative, you become too protective of your work, di ba?
Uh-uh.
But yun, I think you cannot be overly protective of your work. And I think that makes you improve as a creative. If you're able to take criticism, to really digest it, really think
Right.
about it, really think about what it means, what the people are talking about, what your boss told you. Um,
Do you
I
still
think for
recall like the most painful or the worst that you grew from and improved on?
um, I think there was one shoot na parang parang I think there was a comment na parang, "Ano ba 'yan? Sobra na namang Photoshop na." And then it made me no, really, and to be honest, it was at that time, and then I was like, "Oh nga 'no, parang baka it's too much."
Oo.
And at the time it was, I guess, kumbaga everyone was so um excited with the idea of
Yeah,
the
super
Photoshop
into
magic,
Photoshop.
'di ba? I think there was a phase and at that time for everyone where they were so excited about that and the possibilities. But yun nga, then I learned that you cannot go too much.
Right.
And I remember pa nga that we did that, and after that we actually did an all natural no Photoshop shoot, which actually really did well.
Right.
So kumbaga that was also one of the learnings as a creative. And I mean, I don't claim to be perfect all the time. And I think that's what makes anyone a better creative, is to not claim that you are perfect all the time. And from that on, I learned to tone it down. I learned to also use it as a tool to really enhance stories. Um, and yeah.
What's it like being in a creative family where you all work with each other? And how much of your creative influence do your sisters get from you? How lucky are they that you are their brother?
Um, I think it's it's actually for me wala we've always been like this. Kumbaga parang we with our family, I think what I love is we get to really talk about creatives, about things that we love, about you know what else, about our passions.
Right.
Um, I think growing up then, kasi for me, like me and my sister, we're all close. So what I love and I appreciate is that I can be no holds barred with them. As in,
Okay.
like, no filter, nothing. Like ganun ako ka
So you
malalang.
criticize their ano rin.
All of us, we criticize each other's work.
Oh,
And I
really?
think, yeah, and for me, that's what I love, because syempre for me, kumbaga, siguro a lot of people think na parang we just praise each other's work, pero grabe, we're tough critics of each other. And I think for me that works well, because syempre, I'd rather have a tough critic of a friend than someone who just praises me and like tells me, "Yung ganda ng work mo." Alam mo 'yon, parang it criticism again pull you back into reality, and it makes you also improve on your craft, 'di ba?
Right. So What more do you feel you have to prove or want to achieve? What else is on your creative bucket list?
Um, Actually, for me, my my dream talaga is to do a film.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, that's my dream. So maybe when I'm 70. My dream talaga is really to do a film or to work with tourism.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's something about promoting the Philippines, and not just the Philippines, but like the people, the Filipinos, that I really am, passionate about. And then another would be really to create a campaign that's really focused on the LGBTQ plus empowerment. Um, so those are actually, ang dami ko eh. Ang dami ko pang nasa list ko na gusto kong gawin. But I guess those are my top three things that I really want to do. In fact, when I started studio, I I I I told my business director that siguro pag naka 1 year na tayo and we're stable, let's do a pro bono um, campaign for an LGBT organization. So that's something that we're looking at hopefully by end of the year. So at least that's one of the lists that I know. But my ultimate is when after all of this, after all of this, and I'm just like a 70-year-old sitting, I want to really I want to shoot a film, a horror film
A
actually.
horror film.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's my ultimate ultimate siguro, my last thing on my list siguro that I will do, maybe.
Wow. We hope we don't have to wait until you're 70.
Or a book actually, a
Or a
book would
book.
be fun also.
Or a book. Okay, we can't wait. And hopefully sooner than 70.
Yeah.
Thank you, Vince.
Thanks, Mirza. I
Thank
missed
you.
you. My
I miss you
God.
too. Been so long. Thank you
I
for
know.
continuing to challenge and stretch our imaginations, for always pushing boundaries, for helping us wake up to all the creative possibilities that life has to offer. Thank you and
Thank
happy
you.
Pride.
Happy Pride. Yes, thanks for having me, Mirza.
Thank you, and I hope to see you soon.
See you. Bye.
Bye. Bye, everyone. This has been TikTok, and I'll see you on Friday. Bye.